Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nuuli Forged. Welcome in, everybody. It's nice to be here. And welcome to the entire cast. We have everybody. I've's got it. Resubscribing. 30 months in a row. Tier 1. 2.5 years of being an affiliate. Thank you so much, I've's got it. Best moderator in town. Thank you for the Pikachus, and thank you for subscribing for this entire time with us. It's very cool and very important, and it means the world to us.
Damn, it's been that long.
That's just of us being an affiliate. We've actually been streaming a little bit longer than that. So,
yeah, someone asked me the other day, they're like, how long has this been going on? I was like, I think close to 3 years.
Yeah, close to 3 years. It's wild. But yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Mike, welcome back from Italia, looking very sun-kissed and pasta-fed. Love it.
Grazie.
We've got beautiful people all around here today. It's wonderful. Welcome in to tonight's part 2 of Warm Wishes, which is going to be our kind of reintroductory with our characters, because we've been off for most of the summer. Playing other characters or doing work and being unavailable, and life is life. So to get back into the swing of our main characters, we're doing this fun little double adventure, and we'll talk about that after everybody introduces themselves. But first, I need a sacrifice to roll a d20 for me.
I thought you were going to say a word from our sponsors. I was going to be like, wow, I missed a lot. I was in Italy.
I volunteer as tribute. And
Okay.
I rolled a 19.
Wonderful. I love a 19. All right. Please, dear friends, introduce yourself, your character, and please tell us what is the most memorable romantic encounter your character has ever had. For some of you, that's easy. For others, it's not. So we're going to let that stew in your brains for a minute while I vamp. And that is the end of my vamping. So we're going to start at the top of the ladder, fresh from Italia, with Mike.
Ciao, everyone. My name is Mike, and I forgot how to D&D. So my character is Defect, Warforged Barbarian. Except we're not doing Warforged. Thank you. See, I forgot so much. I do remember, though, that Defect is anti-romance. X to the mush. However, if there was one incident that would be sort of romantic, I believe there... Let me go back a little bit. A romantic incident of which he remembers, because his past life is still a little bit mysterious to him. There was one incident in which he was dancing with a woman, coincidentally named Amber, I think.
Yeah.
Not this Amber. I don't know where she is on my screen, but down or...
Amber is actually below you. Greg is below.
Okay, not this Amber, but a different Amber.
An NPC.
Could be construed.
Yeah.
Which could be construed as romantic. So that is my answer.
There was actually another, at least, romantic overture made to Defect. I will remind you that in the town of Bestville, there was a half-orc woman who seemed quite taken with Defect's size and stature.
Was this the one by the lake?
On your way to the lake, yeah.
On the way to the lake, right. I do remember that.
The sea monster lake.
Mm-hmm. But
that was something too.
Yeah. She was much more forward about things.
She was not so much romantic, but
she wanted to see what you were made of, if you know what I mean. But moving on, we have Amber.
Hello, I am Amber, real Amber. I play Greg, the goblin artificer, and What's a romance? Is that mushy stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like when you kiss and stuff? I don't think that. No, I don't think I've ever had one of those things. I don't even know what that really means.
The
Defect's my
AIDA
best
stuff.
friend. Does that count?
Jerry's gonna make something up for you just for tonight.
Well, honestly, not to meta too much, but I was thinking like, all right, was there some like weird thing when Greg was a kid before we've met Greg? No.
It's perfectly great that Greg is aromantic or asexual if they are,
Yeah.
as much as they are agendered or non-binary. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
That can be the answer
All
to the
the
question.
A's.
All the A's.
All the A's and all the nons, however they identify. But cool. Next up, we got Sarah.
Okay, that's me. I am Sarah, and I play Olive, who is a half-orc moon druid. And Olive as a half-orc, I think, feels protective about a lot of people, but not necessarily romantic about them. But I bet her cat has had some more romantic friends with the alley cats in whatever town that was that they were in. I've forgotten the name of now.
Okay.
She was there for a long time waiting.
Olive is living vicariously through her cat.
Through the cat, yeah, because I don't.
Is this your summon?
Like a hermit?
Is this your summoned cat or your cat form?
Yeah, they say it's just Olive when they turn into a cat. They refer to themselves
Cat
as third
form.
person.
Okay, so your wild shape form of cat has had more romance than your half orc form.
Olive as a half orc has pretty much been a hermit.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
She's not. It's not that she's necessarily opposed to that so much. She doesn't really know very many people.
Fair enough.
She knows a lot of the cats around.
All right. We're going to move on from that and go down to Tanner.
I don't know.
I mean, that's very druid, though, isn't it? Anyway. I mean, anyone play Baldur's Gate 3? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh God.
I can take a bear
Just out of
in a
curiosity,
fight.
Of course.
In a fight, right?
Yeah, let's
Listen,
wrestle. Anyway,
I went with all of the romance options just to see what happens, and half of them I was horrified. I'm Tanner. I'm playing Nereus, the Azamar sorcerer, and this one time at band camp. No, Nereus. Oh, to be honest, I never really thought about it. I know it gets very flustered very easily.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
I'd imagine at some point maybe working on one of the boats, but nothing that's stuck, clearly.
Sure. Fair enough. So nothing really memorable so much. It's just perhaps some one-night stands or flings along the way.
Yeah.
That's
Nothing,
cool.
Nothing to stop adventuring for.
Fair enough. And rounding out our players, we've got Matt.
howdy. I am Matt, and I play Spoot, the one with the weird accent. Sorry, inside joke. Yeah, we all know by now, I think, Spoot's lost love because he was not reciprocal. Is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much been it for Spoot. It's not really, I don't think, ever crossed his mind in that way. And he's more or less blissfully unaware or content as he is.
Very cool. Fair enough. And my name is Jared. I play everyone and everything else that is not the 5 PCs. And there's romance all over the place. I'm not going to get into it. It's a mess.
So I say, unless you count Haggy.
Oh, there is Haggy. She's very attracted to Spoot.
Haggy Sealies.
I mean, Spoot could always go for it. She seems interested. If you like an older human woman, go for it. But that all being said, let's dive into last time on Nuuli Forged. Last time on Nuuli Forged, the party was hired by a mysterious humanoid penguin to perform at a wedding. And when they arrived, they were ushered through this into this strange sort of demi-plane. And while there, began practicing their instruments after meeting a few wild characters. Of course, Benjamin Gwyn, their assistant wedding planner contact, and his boss, the Arcanoloth Fennecle Fasted, a very fox-looking kind of individual. And then, while they were practicing for their performance, as they had been accidentally misidentified as the Misfits, as a musical group from another plane of existence, they were shortly interrupted by a massive bird that erupted into the room, kind of this giant hummingbird that began attacking them in all sorts of ways. It's had feathers that were shooting out and attacking them, strafing the room. It had a beak like an iron pincer that pinched through most of the characters at one point or another, before Spoot was finally able to convince it that he would banish it back to the realm with which it wanted to return to. And so the creature willingly failed the saving throw and disappeared back to the Fey realm. Very thankful for their aid, Benjamin took the party and swept them up and cleaned them up, let them rest for a little bit, and then invited them to join the cocktail hour before the wedding. Olive graciously agreed to transform into the giant rainbow iridescent hummingbird at the culmination of the vows and ceremony, so that nobody would know that the wedding bird wasn't actually a wedding bird at all, but it was instead a solitary bird, which doesn't like anybody or anything and wants to be left alone. Apparently the only difference between the two, one has golden eyes and one has black eyes. Who knew? Well, luckily, the cocktail hour has been very fun and interesting so far. The group has been intermingling. Grig has been talking with a fairy-winged goblin from the Fey realm and representative of the Goblin Court, one Twigglefucks. Olive and Spoot have kind of sequestered themselves off in corners, while Nereus has entered into the company of a 10-foot-tall, deep crimson-skinned, like cherry red skin, tiefling, who has identified himself as Junior and has said that he is an ex of the bride. Other notable guests in the immediate area of Junior and Nereus is a humanoid kind of individual that has all these shining chains and like spiked and barbed chains wrapped around its entire body, making it very difficult to see, but drinking something from a very tall wine glass or a flute of some kind. But seemingly amiably chatting with others around. A group of polyhedral kind of robotic-looking entities, which is known only has been identified as the Collective, which Spoot discerned through various rumors that people think that group of individuals is here with one purpose: to keep tabs on the wedding for the precise divine, the entity to which the groom is beholden. And there's might be some drama there, who knows? There's also been, of course, a massive green-skinned solar, a winged angelic entity that has been identified as the best man, who no one has talked to yet, but is wearing a pink suit that's very form-fitting. And so we pick up amongst all of this, people drinking, people having a good time, eating little canapes that are carried around by otter waitstaff, just kind of walking around with little trays like right at about waist high, so you can easily pick them up. We will actually go to Defect. So Defect, you recently fell under the sway of the solitary bird and lost all connection to everybody and everything.
That's how I feel right now.
You remember... Well, you do remember everything that you have been through with these people. Your memory is not altered. but just that feeling of connection and like friendship, identity, camaraderie is gone. And you were told, and you remember signing this contract, and you're stuck here until the end of this wedding. And you have a job to do, so I guess you should do it. But what do you want to do in this group of in this group of all kinds of crazy entities that you don't feel a connection to? And even the little goblin who you remember spending all this time with, like, that memory of you and Greg, they're there, but that bond feels gone.
The memory is there, but the bond is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like lyrics to a very emo song. I really don't know what I want to do. I thought we would end up in the middle of a fight, honestly.
We did. We beat up.
Just be like, you couldn't wait till I get back and let me have the last.
Hey, it's only cocktail hours. Surely this wedding will go smoothly.
Not if
Alright.
everything else is magically resistant and silences me too. Just stood there the whole time.
Okay. So people are
But
just.
how do you really
mingling.
feel? Yeah,
So
people are
just
just
mingling.
Yeah, it's a cocktail hour. People are drinking. They're getting drinks from the bar. There's canapes and appetizers kind of going all over the place.
Okay. To our, what would Defect do in this situation? It's all inside.
Yes.
Is there like a courtyard that's outside?
You're not actually sure. You've only been in an interior space so far. When you got to this realm, you were kind of appeared in like an antechamber, and then you were brought into actually this room, which is a massive kind of meeting hall. And there's like a stage kind of raised up over on one end that you were on when the bird started its attack in this room. You know that there's a couple of hallways and a main door through which guests presumably arrived. But it's a stone structure, and then it slowly fades up, and the stones kind of take on the illusion of a beautiful sky up above, like blue with white clouds, kind of very idealized in a way. And walking around, you see all the individuals I've mentioned. You can see that Benjamin is talking to that fox-like entity that you know is his boss, Fasted. You can see the collective kind of in a corner. Each of those individuals, there's like a pyramid and a cube and a dodecahedron and a hedron. And they are all kind of standing in a group, and there's like one that looks kind of like a weird starfish. But they're all in a group, and they each are just holding a glass of some form of liquid. But none of them are actively drinking it. They're just all kind of watching, which for some of them is very easy because like the pyramid has one eye, but it's got one eye on each face, so it's got three of them. There's it's like I guess it would be four because it's four. It's got three sides but four faces. Cube, same idea. So they have multiple eyes, especially the one that looks kind of like an open like side view of a starfish. It's got eyes like all along each arm. There's the 10-foot tall tiefling having pulled Nereus close to him, which Nereus, how tall are you? 6 foot?
No.
Are you 5 foot?
Nereus is. Adis was 6 foot.
That's right.
Nereus
is much shorter.
5'9".
Okay, so not too much shorter, but yeah, like this individual, this tiefling is like 10 feet tall. So he literally just like kind of like puts his arm down and like reaches out a little bit and kind of like pulls Nereus next to him and kind of leaves his hand just kind of sitting there. And it doesn't look like he's actually like got his arm crooked at all. you see that individual wrapped in chains is like nearby, kind of talking in that same group. And you see that green-skinned tall dude talking to a bunch of other entities, the one in the pink suit over there. And you see your friend, supposedly, although you don't feel that attachment to them, Grig, talking to this goblin that's wearing this like real long kind of flowy dress as she's fluttering above the floor, with like all these like piercings and tattoos, and like this, it's a real clash between like personal appearance and like the very fine dress that she's wearing.
Okay. I think Defect will take a cue from the crowd and get a drink, whether from the table or if there's a waiter or waitress around.
Yeah, there's trays of like wines and whatever going around. There's also a full bar over on one side of the room that's been set up.
Well, I'll grab a glass of wine. And even though I don't remember a bond, I do have the memory, so I know I'm familiar with the entity that is known as Grig. So I will walk on over to Grig and just hover a bit, try to listen in on their conversation, and perhaps see if there's an opportunity to tie him in with like a ha ha ha. That's funny.
Yeah, you hear this entity, this female goblin talking to Grig, and she's pretty much like talking about being a goblin from the Fey realm. And it's just it's a conversation about like, well, my goblins are this way and my goblins are this way. It's a very goblin-centric conversation.
Defect will make an awkward laugh at some point during the conversation.
Cool. So you do so, and this winged goblin looks, oh, and what sort of entity are you? I have not seen one like you before. Are you with the bride or the groom?
Defect.
You're a defect. Okay.
I'm defect, and to answer your question, I am most definitely with no one.
Ah, so you're single and alone. Okay, well, what's your type? I'll see what I can hook you up with.
Oh, not looking for anyone except maybe for this one here, and like point to Grig, but not in that way. This stuff here, a little bit too much for me. I'm sorry, guys. I totally forgot how to role play.
You're good.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Just start reciting poetry. You'll be fine.
Well, so the goblin. Well, I'm Twigglefucks, and I'm the emissary from the Goblin Court of the Fey Realm. I'm also the matron of honor and best friend to Punkestra, the bride. I'm the one who brought the wedding bird for the ceremony, so you know, I'm pretty cool.
You must be to be the pick of the bride to be her maid of honor.
Oh yeah, we go way back, and she begins this long tale of like various like rock concerts they went to across different planes of existence, and like crazy shenanigans and all kinds of stuff. Meanwhile,
as she's talking. I'm sorry. As she's talking, I'll take like a glance at Grig. Does Grig recognize me? Like, or if we lock eyes, is there like a moment where we're like, oh yeah, you're my best friend?
So look at you with adoration.
Yeah. So Grig is not under this effect. Grig doesn't know that anything's wrong.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You're the only one who knows.
As long as I see Grig's adoration, then I feel great about myself.
Cool. Meanwhile, Spoot, you have been kind of hanging off and looking around the crowd. What sort of shenanigans is Spoot getting up to during this cocktail hour? You had mentioned something about kind of wanting to stay clear of the Solar, but also kind of being intrigued. I just want to check in with you about that.
Yeah, I might have like watched from afar. I think he's definitely got a healthy curiosity. It is one of the languages he speaks, so I'm sure there's some point in his life he found a book and studied Celestials.
Yeah, the entity seems to be just having a good time, shaking hands with people. He's kind of doing the rounds. You did hear last week. You rolled a really good perception or investigation check and learned that this was the best man in this bright pink suit. So you know, he seems to be doing that kind of thing.
I am unfortunately, I should say, Spoot is unfortunately very bad at initiating conversation unless there is a specific task at hand. So I think
Well, you can see that this individual is like approaching your area of the room. So he may come across you sooner than later.
Act casual, Spoot says to himself.
Yeah.
You withdraw into your shell.
As you contemplate withdrawing into
As a
your
bonus
shell,
action.
he happens to walk right in your general vicinity and looks down and says, "Oh, hello. Greetings. Welcome to the wedding. How are you? What, are you bride or groom? I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. My name is Garrulus."
Oh, no, we haven't met. My name is Spoot. I'm actually
Oh, wonderful.
with the band.
Ah, excellent. Yes, Pakestra is very fond of you all, you misfits. She says, I think she likes Mother is her favorite song, but she mentioned one called Descending Angel, which I'm quite interested to hear.
Well, we thought we might try some new stuff tonight, since it's a special occasion. We've been working
wonderful.
on an instrumental with a lot of drums.
Oh, well, I'm sure it will be to everyone's enjoyment. So glad we could get you here for the wedding. Punkestra will be very excited about it.
Well, yes. It's very exciting. A beautiful wedding. You're the best man, I hear.
Oh, yes, I am. Gyro and I have been friends for a very, very long time, you know, being immortal entities and all that. I'm actually very proud of him for finding a love of his life, getting married, settling down. He's always been very fastidious and very duty-bound, which, being from Mechanus, is not a surprise. But always been good-hearted. But he happened to meet this Punkestra, and, you know, I worry that she will kind of rough him up a little bit too much, if you know what I mean. But I do want his happiness above all else, of course.
I'm sure there's a reason they're coming together today. There's no doubt a bond there that only they know the truest extent of.
Absolutely. I mean, I was there when they met. You know, it was a whole thing. But I'm so glad that, well, I guess I wasn't technically there, but I was sort of there. It doesn't matter. Anyway, you see, they met in Sigil, of course, in Sigil, which is under the auspices of the Lady of Pain. So it's a part of the multiverse where all entities are welcome as long as you don't make trouble. It's a point of true neutrality between law, order, chaos, chaos, good and evil. It's quite the environment. But there are surprisingly, well, there's rules, but there's not. It's an interesting place. But as long as you obey the rules that do exist, you can do pretty much anything else. Now, tell me, Mr. Spoot, was it? As a member of the band, you must have all sorts of juicy gossip.
Spoot's like, why did I say that?
I would love to hear some of your stories. And he begins plying you for gossip and bits of information, as well as trading a bunch of his own about various guests that he knows and has met and interacted with here.
Spoot's like, how do I think I'll go into telling Oh yeah, well, we've traveled a lot. And we keep hearing stories about this, group of adventurers back where we're from that have done some pretty interesting things, I suppose. And then I'll just insert there was once an undead dragon apparently in this forest that was on fire forever.
Yeah, he eats it up. You get a sense that this individual is very much like a chatterbox and a gossip. Like, he likes knowing the things and being in the know.
I think Spoot's gonna try to because he would never brag on him, but on the group. But I think slowly but surely he'll be and then this one person, Grig's really smart and comes up with all these clever ways to get out of a pinch, and then we've got this other, and I'll just kind of say a really nice thing about each member of our party as if it's something I'd.
Yeah.
I think though, Spoot's gonna. I don't know if he could steer the conversation back. I think he's gonna inevitably have some questions about because he's not familiar at all with other realms. I'm assuming here, based on my languages here, that I have had some sort of interest, perhaps in celestial beings, but no experience of it. I probably would find some way to ask him about what is it like where you are from and being ageless and all this.
Oh, well, I happen to be from Arborea, so it's a very lush area. It's beautiful all the time. It's great. I'm one of the members of the Host of the Glades, so I tend to I deal with an entity, work for an entity known as the Mistress of Glens. So that's sort of my jam. Spoot, you immediately recognize the Mistress of Glens because that was Paduke's deity.
Oh, we know that's going to prompt me to be I should message Paduke. Oh, we met someone that was affiliated with the Mistress of Glen once.
Oh, really? Anyone exciting?
I mean, we thought he was quite charming. Follow us around for a little bit, and I'll go on to describe Paduke.
Ah, I've heard of Paduke, but I've never met him. What a small multiverse. And so the conversation continues. Meanwhile, Olive, are you still hanging back away from the crowd?
Olive is hanging back. She has picked up a glass of anything to have something to do with one hand, and has picked up enough canapes that every time someone walks near her, she's put something in her mouth so that she can nod and chew.
Cool. Yeah, people just are kind of oh, don't want to interrupt and move on. Nereus, you have been not manhandled necessarily, but certainly guided tight against the massive thigh of this 10-foot tiefling. So you're kind of your head is just above his waist. And he is holding court and having a very animated conversation with this chain-wrapped entity who you learn, you may have learned this last time actually, but his name is Chitvederick. And Chitvederick is the officiant from the wedding. And he's actually the one, he was a factotum. He kind of left the bureaucracy of the Hells, became a factotum at the City of Doors, which you've never heard of in your life, and was the one who introduced the couple while guiding them on a guided tour through a city called Sigil, or Sigil. However you want to pronounce it. I'm going to do Matt Mercer and do both. I think it's Sigil, but we're going to go with it. And they're just having a slight conversation about Chitvederick's concern about being away from the City of Doors, even though this is a demi-plane that was constructed specially for the purpose of hosting weddings like this. He's got some concern because it's possible someone might come for him.
Why, is So how tall is this the chain devil?
The chain devil's probably about your height. It's not super tall.
Okay, so I have to break my neck looking at him too.
No.
Wait, so are there people hunting you?
Well, it's not so much they're hunting me, really. It's more that when I left the Hells, I filed the paperwork I thought I needed to file, but, well, maybe not. Bureaucracy's not always quick and easy, and there's a lot of bureaucracy in the Hells. And I know I didn't cross all my I's and T's. I just sort of did a quick version of the paperwork, so they might try to get me back in on a technicality.
That sounds like a pain in the ass. Yeah, I've heard of, probably not as harsh contracts, but I've seen a few, and sometimes you have to really read between the lines.
Oh, trust me, you've never seen anything like a hellish contract. But having been created in the Hells and bound to them for the better part of eternity, I kind of grew up in it, so I wasn't necessarily contracted so much as forced by nature to prescribe to a lot of things until I kind of did my own research and branched out and figured, I think I need a change of pace. Luckily, escaping to the City of Doors is pretty much a guaranteed safe zone, because nobody fucks with the Lady of Pain. Even the gods keep distance and let her do her thing. Although she is not a god, funnily enough, and she does not like it if people start worshipping her as one. Trust me. But
Interesting.
The City of Doors is pretty great. That's why everyone in Sigil just gets along. Until they don't. But you can have a Baitor from the Abyss share a cup of tea with a Solar from Celestia.
How does one get to this City of Doors? Sounds quite fascinating.
You just gotta find the right door. It's got doors to everywhere. So you just gotta find the right one for wherever you want to go and try and hope it's at the right place at the right time. The entire city is kind of folded in on itself in a weird way. It's like a torus.
Interesting.
At the peak of a pinnacle in the middle of the multiverse. It is the center of everything, although the source of nothing. It's a perfect location dead set between chaos and order and evil and good. It's true neutrality.
Got it. So go home and open up every door in the entire continent.
You might get lucky. Just saying.
It's probably a better option than what's going. So what's the City of Doors like?
He begins describing this vast world that's full of all kinds of creatures, selling all kinds of things, living mostly in harmony, but also having rivalries. But he focuses a lot on his job is to be a guide there. He guides people around for money, like that's how he makes his living. But he's reputable, he's licensed, and by doing so, by working with him, it's pretty much a guarantee that you won't get like mugged. Because if you wander off on your own, you'll probably get mugged. Because it's a true neutral spot between chaos and order. So like laws exist, but so he knows like the good places to go and the places you shouldn't go on any given day or time. It's kind of his business to know those things. And he describes the entity who runs the whole thing, the Lady of Pain. She's got these servants that are terrifying, that she'll sick out on people who are like trying to mess with her business. And tells you about a story that a small cult of like 5 people who were beginning to worship her, and these entities showed up and just like tore them limb from limb and like splayed them out as a display and warning against worshipping the Lady of Pain as a deity. but nobody really knows why, and nobody ever kind of talks to her. She just sort of appears, the image of her face sort of just appears over the city at times. And she kind of walks through the city whenever she wants.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a wild, it sounds like a wild, wacky place.
I will find that door.
Junior, meanwhile, is listening and like chiming in with appropriate bits of charming like repartee, or like an added emphasis to a story, or like a little side quest or whatever, little tangents. All the while, just kind of like very like calmly but suggestively like patting your shoulder, like gripping your shoulder. Like you get the sense that like he's into you. He thinks you're an attractive individual. You flirted previously, or at least seemed to. And he's just having a good time in your company, and tells you that he and Chida Vederick go way, way back. Apparently, this tiefling is older than you would think, but he's 10 feet tall, so there could be a lot of surprises with him.
Oh.
But yeah. But amidst all this chicanery and conversation, a light twilling bell with kind of a hard crank at the end of it, like a doodle-doodle-doo, sounds. And the doors on one side of the room open up, and Benjamin steps forward. Ladies, gentlemen, theys, thems, and everything that does or does not have a gender or identity, please make your way into the cathedral for this service. The ceremony is about to begin. Find your seats, everyone. And you all, and the entire crowd begins to disperse in. Junior Nereus kind of like crooks his arm and kind of like looks down at you and is kind of like, are you sitting with anybody?
Well, I was sitting with my friends, but I don't think they'll miss me very much.
Wonderful. Why don't I... you can sit by me. How about that? If you don't mind, if I may. And he kind of like bows low.
Oh.
He in one motion, his arm kind of scoops you up, and so you're kind of like in one of his arms and like nestles like into his chest a little bit as he walks to his seat in the room there. And you all kind of see Nereus being kind of carried by this 10-foot tiefling into the seating area for the ceremony.
I got tired of walking.
Greg, Trigglefox looks down and he says, oh, that's my cue. Gotta go find the missus. And she flutters off without so much as a goodbye.
Bye.
Spoot, a similar thing happens with you and Garrulus. He kind of nods and says, well, I must off. I have business to attend to. It's my job as the best man. I'll see you at the party, I guess. Wonderful to meet you. Wonderful to meet you. Enjoy the ceremony. And he fucks off.
I'll attempt to say bye in Celestial.
He returns it and says goodbye and says, nice accent, and flies off. So you all can kind of go in. The ceremony begins. You see that there's a group of otters that have are like, there's like one at a piano and one at a harp. This seems to be like a little concerto duo who are going to presumably play some form of a wedding march. Everybody gets their seats, and soon enough you see Garrulus, the green-skinned individual with the big feathered wings, the Solar, walk up to the front of the procession with an individual who looks to be made of like moving parts. His eyes are like gears that are constantly like clicking in opposite directions. His eyebrows have little like pistons on them. He seems to be like mechanical and organic, and like every movement he makes is like precise and dedicated. And he's got like this white kind of under toga thing going on, and like a black jacket over it. He's got shoulder pauldrons in the shape of gears. It's a very like gear clockwork theme ensemble. Not necessarily made in that, but suggestive of that. You see that he's very slender, and like all these gears, cogs, and pistons that kind of make him what he is seem to be standing exceptionally still and expectantly, and you can't tell if it's because he's like anticipating what's coming, or if that's just how he operates.
Olive is looking around for a floral arrangement or a crevice in the cathedral structure large enough to hide a giant hummingbird in.
Yeah, you take a look around one of the floral arrangements, and you can see that there's a big empty cage that has a blanket over it. You take a peek under, and like it's an empty cage. So that's probably where the bird was, and it's out of sight.
She's going to try to sit like as close to that as she can.
Easy enough to do, no problem.
She's very nervous about missing her cue.
Yeah, very cool. The band or the concerto duo kind of strikes up, and while it's these beautiful melodic instruments like piano, harp, and whatnot, it's a very like aggressive version of a wedding march. It's almost like the Imperial March, but with a little more like scat jazz kind of thrown into it, like improvisation. And you see Twigglefucks kind of like strutting down the aisle, like fluttering with her wings, but kind of like does a little like, hey, strut. As the matron of honor kind of enters down the aisle and takes up a position opposite the groom's side. And then everybody stands as the music changes to a much more like punk rock version of the same song. And you see the bride come on down. You see Punkestra Rocks, a kind of short pixie cut that seems to be like her hair color is like constantly shifting. Like it's kind of like, you know, like when you scroll on the hue of like select a color in like a computer program. It's very much like that, but constantly like shifting and changing. Oh. From light to dark and all the colors in between. It's just like a lighting console. Yes. She's got very dark skin, almost like charcoal almost. But she's got vitiligo, but the vitiligo is rainbow speckled pattern and also kind of shifting as she moves. So she's got this beautiful vitiligo pattern kind of over her face and down her body. Her eyes constantly shift from like being a matching pair to a mismatching pair, but it's randomized. Like one eye will be a snake and one will be like a bovine and one will be a goat and one will be a humanoid, and the colors will be... So it's just constantly moving. Sometimes they're a golden orb. It's just a constantly changing thing. And her wedding dress is like black and white, but it's like somebody took white paint and threw it on a black dress. And it's got studs and spikes and like leather belts that are like sideways across her body and her hips. Very like punk rock wedding. And she walks down the aisle, and she gets there, from around one of the other flower arrangements appears the officiant. Chidavederick kind of stands up, and as he begins to say, "Welcome all entities to this the wedding of Gyro, Scopula, and Punkestra Rocks," and that is when a burst of flame appears in the middle of the aisle. and out of a burning circular gate steps a female form with black wings. She's fully armored, and you can see she's got a face of a beautiful woman, but you can see around the edges that like her skin is entirely flayed except for the face, and the armor's just covering the rest of it up. She's got a massive glowing whip on her hip and a flaming sword. In her hand is a scroll, and as she steps forward, she unfurls the scroll and says, "The Enticer apologizes for this interruption and sends his congratulations to those who are here binding their fates together today. However, another matter must take precedence. As Enforcer First Class of the Judiciary of Avernus, I, Posternia the Heartless, am bound by duty and terms to serve the following notice. Chitaveteric, the Spleen Spiker, formerly of the Nine Hells, 118th Chain Division, currently residing in exile in the City of Doors, aka Sigil. You are hereby charged with dereliction of duty, going absent without leave, insubordination, and 84 counts of refusal to comply with previous summons. As a devilish entity originating from the Nine Hells, you are now considered bound and under arrest by the laws and regulations set forth by the Enticer, Lord of the Nine, Supreme Master of Devils, the Raging Fiend, Master and Commander of all hosts of Hell. Your powers are restrained effective immediately, and you are hereby obligated and commanded by the power of dominion to appear promptly before an infernal tribunal to determine your fate." And you see that the chains around Chitaveteric immediately like bind and lash him together so he can't move, and this entity raises her fingers and the body begins to float, and he kind of moves under a force not his own, down and through the fiery portal and preceding her. And she turns around, as you've seen these chains have kind of bound him and pulled him in. She turns around and goes, "Congratulations on your wedding. He is entitled to legal representation. It is my duty to inform you that if there are representatives who wish to fight for his cause, you are also obligated to appear before the tribunal promptly." And she turns and walks through the portal, and the portal remains. You see...
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Nereus, you are in a position, since you are next to Junior, you see that Junior goes, like, fully... as soon as this entity appeared, his demeanor changed. He went full, like, rigid, like, at attention, like, paying attention. And you saw his face, like, go aghast as Chitaveteric was pulled through this portal. He looks down at you and he's like, "I'm sorry, handsome. I really need to go deal with this. That's one of my best friends."
Of course, I understand.
"I appreciate that. But save a dance for me, okay?"
Sure.
Wonderful. He leans down and gives you a little peck on the cheek, which, given his size, is not so little. As he stands up and begins making his way, you can see that he looks towards Pagkestra, and she reaches over to Gyro, and you see them change words, and Gyro turns to all of the group afterwards and says, "Guests, welcome, friends. Apologies for this interruption. If there are any assembled here who would be willing to accompany me and my bride to Avernus to help our officiant, we would be very, very much appreciative of that. If you're not going to go, please kindly wait, and we'll get back as soon as we can. But we have to go help save our officiant. Oh, Junior, you're going to come. That's great." And you see that the entire wedding party plus Junior begin walking towards the portal. Benjamin appears next to you, Spoot, and he says, "Oh my, this is bad. This could take a while. Well, you guys don't have anywhere to be on your home plane, right?"
No, that's not. Oh, wait, that's Spoot.
Well, how long?
Well, it depends on the tribunal, but if it's not fixed promptly, then it could be years. And by contract, you are not allowed to leave until the end of the ceremony. So,
when you say years, do you mean like in this plane, and does that mean something else? Where we're from?
I don't think so.
well, time is a funny thing, and I can't guarantee. I can guarantee that it's marching forward, although the rate of time marching in our location versus any other is tantamount to debate.
Well, suffice to say, we do have somewhere to be. Is there anything we could do to help?
Well, technically, if you were to follow the bride and the groom, you would technically still be working for them. And I know that you're not really the misfits, that you're actually this adventuring band. Like, we went over this oopsie earlier. So if you were able to go to the Hells with them and speed along the process, then we'd be able to get this wedding off on the road. I wouldn't lose my job, my boss would be happy, and the clients would also be happy, and you'd get to go home soon.
I guess we're going to hell.
I was going to be a giant hummingbird.
I will.
There's still time for that, don't worry.
I will warn you, politics is also not our strong suit.
Well, it's not so much politics as arguing, and it seems like your goblin friend is pretty good at that.
Well, that is true.
I do have very strong opinions.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, facts
you
are
do.
real. I know them.
Well, let's go, guys.
Well, you should all hurry, and you can see that like the bride and groom have stepped forth. Twigglefox goes through. Garrulus goes through. Junior looks back, winks at Nereus, and takes a step through, and the portal begins to shrink down.
Bring all the dogs. Let's go.
Yeah, there's hellhounds barking on the other side of the portal. It's crazy.
As long as there are no cats there, we'll go.
So you all zip through.
I assume I see them starting to run through the portal.
Yeah.
I'm not-
Oh yeah, you see them.
All right.
All right.
Cool. You all step through and kind of. The wedding party turns and looks at you, including Junior, and looks very surprised that the group of you have arrived. The bride and groom have no idea who the hell you are, by the way. But you find yourselves on like what appears to be a stone structure, but you realize that a lot of the stones around are like skulls that have been like mortared together, and there are skeletons in the floor, like not carved into it, but like actual skeletons laid into the floor seamlessly alongside the paving stones dotting the ground. And there's like cages off on various sides, chains, fire pits. There's massive cathedral windows, and gouts of flame can be seen on the outside of the building. This kind of red-gray rock is surrounding you in this structure, and there's like ancient tomes along the back wall on shelves made of hopefully just wood. But the important thing is you appear amongst the pews with with the rest of the wedding party, and bound in the center on a stand, you see Chidavederic, the individual wrapped in chains. He's a chain devil. It's kind of become evident at this point, and you would have heard people talking about that by now. There are three entities around them. One of them you recognize You recognize Posternia the Heartless. She's the one who showed up and like summoned him. She's at one of these like raised platforms. On the other side, there's kind of what looks to be like a humanoid dragon, like green skinned, but not like a dragon born. Like it looks like a dragon, but in humanoid form, with wings and like tendrils of hair and like a little like, not a crown, but maybe like a helmet or a cap of some kind on the back of its head. And in the center, you see this large corpuscular kind of entity with little tiny wings out of the back of his like shoulders and like very rich velvety robes, very kind of like almost like Jabba the Hutt. If Jabba had like little wings, very like slug-like in appearance.
If Jabba had fairy wings,
tiny wings, yeah, kind of like little devilish fairy wings, like it's like the wings of an imp are on this massive corpuscular entity.
And is he somehow able to fly like a bumblebee, or just shouldn't work? But
he's currently seated at his position. So who's to say? But he bangs the gavel. This tribunal will now be called to order on the subject of Chetaveteric. Chetaveteric, you have been accused of various crimes against you that were just read, and I'm not going to do them again. So, and he kind of lets out this long belch. You want to fess up, or you want to drag this out? To which point, Junior stands up and says, I believe the tribunal must recognize that the accused is entitled to counsel to tell his side of the story before presenting it to the tribunal itself. You see the eyes kind of narrow, and he's like, oh, it's Junior, right? All right. Snekix, what do you think? And he turns to the little green dragon kind of guy, and Snekix, apparently, turns and looks at the other one. Well, Calestra, that's technically correct. Which is the best form of correct. So, why don't we give them a moment to find out their facts, and then we'll crush them with ours. Very well, sounds good. Alright, you have 10 minutes. And the three individuals begin talking amongst themselves, and you see that Junior, kind of before approaching Chetaveteric, looks down at you all, and he's like, so, Nereus, good to see you, of course. I'm a little surprised. You didn't have to follow me. What are you all doing here?
I got bored. This looked more fun.
Oh, I like you.
trying to get this wedding underway.
Well, I appreciate that. That's definitely going to be more helpful with the things. But look, I know enough about these sorts of things where I can stall for time a little bit. It'd be really great if you all could kind of like poke your head around outside. Good news, since you're here as part of counsel for the defense in a tribunal, you're technically immune to a lot of normal shenanigans that would go on in hell. So luckily you won't have to worry about the oppressive environment, the intense heat, the soul-crushing depression and rage. So congratulations. Good job. By coming through the portal, that was the only way to do it. But you've also kind of been bound by the rules now.
You say bound?
As long as you're in hell via that portal, you are bound to help in the defense of Chetaveteric until his fate is decreed, at which point you will be returned safely from the plane of existence you arrived from.
Okay.
However, hell is not against vengeance, so, bear that in mind as you kind of meander around. But I can stall for a little while, maybe an hour or two. Best if you all could sort of go out and get the vibe and kind of talk to people and see what kind of information you can gather about what's going on and why this summons may have come up right now.
It didn't come up right now because he left the safe place?
Well, it's possible. The more information we have, the better armed we are in this, so.
Is there an obvious exit?
Oh, yeah, and he points down and you see this, like, massive, like, it looks like to be a relief carved into one wall that's like a massive mouth with fangs and like horns curling up out of it, right through those doors.
That's an interesting door.
I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like fang, skull, horn motif here in Avernus. Despite that the Duke doesn't have really much any of that. But, you know.
Okay. Well, time to go eavesdrop
Right.
and gossip. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yes, and
lurking.
and
I'm down.
do be careful. You have some protections, but you're not immune. So just keep that in mind.
We can take care of ourselves.
And he kind of like looks at you and gives you that look of like, well, I'd like to take care of you, but he realizes that this is not the time or place, and he just kind of like, all right, go impress me. You've got about an hour.
That part we're good at. Talking to the natives, we're not so good at. Taking care
You're
of
not so good at.
So you all exit, and what you see before you is a landscape that is like blighted and like seems to like constantly shifting. Like there's roiling fire gouts that like spurt up, and there it's not like anything is like close by, but nothing's far away either. Like you can see all kinds of structures and pavilions, and you're not sure how to get there, but it's obvious you just need to go there.
Are there people about or entities about?
In the immediate area, make a perception check. Yeah, with a 28, you see a small little like imp, kind of like walking along, hauling what seems to be like a corpse of some sort of humanoid. Just kind of like dragging it. It has no head, but the imp is dragging it kind of by the protruding bit of spine that's out from where the head should be. He stops as he notices being noticed, and he's like, "Oh, hello! You're new here. What?
We're not really here.
Oh,
Really here.
this isn't yours, right?
No,
Oh,
you can have
no.
that.
No.
Just
Good.
a quick question.
Uh-huh.
How do we get over there? And I'm just gonna point towards like distant. Like you said, there's a pavilion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you point out the pavilion. Oh, just go there and think about walking toward the boneyard. That's what it's called. It's the boneyard. Don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine.
Okay, so you just have to think about going there and just go.
Yeah, but don't let your mind wander, or else you will too. Now, if that's all, I have some work to do. And he begins.
Go enjoy your work.
Thanks a lot. Have fun. Enjoy Avernus. And he begins
you.
hauling this decapitated body like across your path and kind of around a rock.
None of you recognize that body, right?
Is it just PA or is that guy odd?
I think that was my great uncle.
The imp or the body?
Yes. So I vote we just kind of do what he says, think about going there, just kind of like start walking, but I don't like the sound of boneyard. A little
No.
suspicious, but I'm not that great at reading people like some others.
I'm too mortified to have even insight checked him. I think Spoot's just got like this look and like
Spoot, I would like you to make a religion check for me right now, right here.
Spoot is like praying. He's just not stopped praying since he's got here. Aw.
Okay. With a 12, you know that the Hells are like notoriously a bad place, and you're pretty sure this is like one of the lower level or one of the upper levels, like not too far deep. But like you didn't really like study the Hells necessarily. You kind of like were like, oh, they're bad, and kind of left them there. But you know you got to be like vigilant in this kind of area, even though Junior said that you have some protections, but who's to say?
Oh boy. Let's be careful who we talk to, says Spoot. I know we're here to ask questions, but I don't know.
I feel like Careful's our middle name.
Yeah, definitely.
You have a middle name?
No.
Oh.
Saying. Humans have middle names.
Some worlds.
Seems pointless.
Yeah,
Does
I just need one
anyone
name.
know-
Stupid humans.
What are we
Nearest is
trying
just
to
going to
prove
start
here?
walking, thinking towards that pavilion.
Is
if there's anybody there.
is there
He's
anywhere
being-
else we can go?
You can see other like destinations. There's like tents set up over somewhere. There's like a multi-spired castle and a very tall tower with like a pagoda at the top of it. There's something that looks to be like a tuning fork with a giant fiery eyeball or a sphere of lightning or something
Ooh.
in the middle.
I vote we don't go to Sauron. I mean, I already started walking towards the pavilion.
Okay,
I don't know where y'all
Oh
going.
no!
everybody
We
following
should stick together.
Nereus.
It's not a place to split up.
Okay.
I guess so.
All right, you all follow Nereus, and as you head towards this pavilion that's been called the Boneyard, that is where we are going to take a 5-minute break.
Oh my!
Oh no,
Whatever's happening.
Mike's left his mic live. That's okay.
What crap?
I will just mute him real quick. Bonk. I'll unmute you later. We will be back in 5 minutes, everybody. We're going to take a quick, short rest here. Thank you all for hanging out with us as we play for the first time in months with the full crew. So thank you all very much. I got to do a quick little Dubro thing here. Bunk and Bunk. Great. Hey, I need to do all kinds of things to update this. I'm so behind. I'm such a bad DM. But hey, it's okay. We will be back in 5 minutes, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll be right back after this short break.
I am mortified.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Thanks for sticking out while we did a couple technical things during the break. Sorry for that extra 2 minutes, but we are back. The party has arrived in Hell, in the first layer, in Avernus itself, all in an effort to hopefully clear the name of Chedavederic, who is a chain devil, who is the officiant for the wedding that they are contracted to perform at, but cannot leave until the wedding actually occurs and finishes. So, to speed along that effort, they're here to search out any kind of news that they might find from the locals to see how this happened to come about at this precise moment in time. While Junior, the 10-foot-tall tiefling who is an ex of the bride and guest at the wedding, seems to have taken the reins on and knows some bit about infernal law dealings that he's going to make happen. You all have stepped off towards the pavilion that you could see not too far off in the distance. What has been identified to you as an imp carrying a headless body as the Boneyard. And you can't tell quite how long passes. Like, you don't think it was that long, but it feels like it could have been forever. But you come across the pavilion eventually, and you see that it is it's like jet black, and it has these like tall towers kind of at like the corners. It's like a multi-sided thing, like maybe 12 sides, and then like a peaked roof where all the sides kind of go up. And the corners are all these gargantuan onyx bones of some kind, and the roof is all ribs, and it looks like some kind of weird ossuary. As you kind of get to the vicinity, you see there's a couple of individuals. They're standing there about humanoid sized, like human sized for lack of a better term. They have these like long halberds, and they have very handsome faces, but very long beards, except you notice that they're not beards. They are snakes that seem to be writhing and wriggling. And they say,
Oh.
Can we help you, huh?
You're quite an interesting lot. And then one of them kind of like sniffs at you, and the tongues flick out from the snake beard.
Oh, you're involved with a tribunal, huh?
You cut out what?
One of the snake beards kind of licks in your general area as you approach.
Ah, so you're involved with a tribunal, are you?
We are.
Yeah.
Well, what can we help you with?
Well, our friend is talking to some people right now, so we just thought we'd just take a little stroll while we're unneeded at the moment.
Well, 5 rugged mortals such as yourselves, sure, come on in. Welcome to the Boneyard.
And they part ways to and kind of like invite you in.
I may ask what this place is about.
It's about a good time.
I do explain,
Time
because
for
everybody
who?
has a different type of good time.
If it makes you feel good, it's allowed here.
Oh. Is it...
You
What
have
kind
donuts?
of boneyard is this? Is it the kind I'm thinking of, or is it actual bones?
You feel something prod against your brain, and it's like,
Both.
look,
I'm happy here.
look inside. There's a buffet. There's an interplanar buffet. There's a great bar. There's a bordello for carnal delights of all kinds and flavors. There's a spa. Like, if it makes you feel good, it's here.
Hey,
Is
Matt,
there a library?
Wanna do that thing that you do?
Is there a library?
There,
Oh, wait,
there's a
which one?
bookstore or the cafe.
Matt-
Yeah.
Word of
one
recall?
that one skill that you have that nobody else is proficient in, that you do after any time somebody speaks.
I don't know.
Begins with an I.
Animal handling.
Yes, yes, that one.
Animal handling.
Intimidate them. I'm proficient in intimidation.
I am so scared to do it because I've been rolling so poorly. The only thing I roll better than insight right now currently is history, and I bet I would bomb that. History check. I'm just going, that might be interesting. Let's do insight first.
Great. Go for it.
I'm actually not proficient in it, funny enough. It's nature.
Well, with a 19, this guy's not lying to you. He's like you get the sense that he's like, no, really, you can go in, or don't. I don't care. But it's not like he's not trying to like trick you into anything. You get the sense.
Yeah, it's not a trap. It's just like a.
I just am more concerned about what's inside being the truth.
Well, we don't have to go in. I think I'm not that curious, actually.
Do you know anything about official paperwork where one would file things like that?
Well, there's
That would be
a
funny
This
if there was a
doesn't-
paperwork section. I mean, if anything, I've known people who really like to write things down.
Yeah, do you enjoy doing paperwork?
well.
These in here.
There's of course the tower. There's the Duke's Tower, but there's long lines, and it takes forever to get anything done there.
That sounds like probably where we need to go.
Well, there's an annex inside. For business purposes, we have to keep an annex of the offices of Avernus on premises because the way this environment shifts, we have to always maintain a presence for the Duke. So there's a representative there.
What else does the representative do here?
I don't know. I'm not his mom.
Fair.
Ah.
Look, you can go in or not. I don't care what you want to do. We're not going to stop you if you want to go in.
I'm gonna go in.
I'm gonna go in.
Are you going to stop us if we want to leave?
No. We're here for trouble. As long as you don't cause trouble, we got no gripe.
I will wait for you here, not causing any trouble. Also,
I don't think you should wait here. I think you should stay with us.
I
No.
normally agree with you.
No, no,
I think I'm
you should-
terrified.
Nah, if you want to hang out with us here all alone, that's perfectly fine with us.
Yeah, we're kind of similar.
Olive is going to grab
Yeah,
by the wrist
I like turtles.
and try to tug him along.
Snakes and turtles have always been friends.
Mhm.
Spooch, come with us.
This Switch is closing his eyes.
So you enter the boneyard through these massive black ebony bone doors. And what you enter into is a very nice, well-appointed space. There's a kind of dark-skinned human man there. And he appears in very fine clothes with like a sash and like a kind of like a turban-style hat. It's like, welcome to the boneyard. What will your pleasures be today, fair travelers from other realms? Allow me to introduce myself. I am Catheriel Ventoro, but please call me Kath.
Nice to meet you, Kathy.
Thank you. Now, how can I aid in your delight today? Do you seek fine foods, fine wines, fine partners, fine teas, fine... what? How can I help you?
He likes books. I want candy and donuts.
Wonderful!
Defect probably wants poems. But really,
Mm-hmm.
we all want to be in the same room.
Well, there's, of course, the cafe, which has a lovely reading section that you may, of course,
avail yourselves of. There's also the Interplanar Buffet, which has all sorts of goodies that you are welcome to partake in.
Is there a place to at least mix and mingle, chat with some other people first before getting down to it?
Of course, if you would just like to hobnob, you're more than welcome at the bar.
Nearest is going to start walking towards the bar.
Hobnob in the boneyard. Boom.
Hobnob with the hobgoblins.
Yeah, so he shows you all to a bar, and you see it's like a very popular bar in here. There's a big long bar that has all kinds of bottles and liquor behind it, and you can see that it's being manned by a very tall kind of skeletal figure that has like a long bony tail, long claws of bones, wearing a little bow tie and kind of a jaunty sideways bowler cap. And you see that there's little imps that are flying various bottles to this individual to and from the shelves as it is mixing drinks. And the clientele in here is a mix. You see tieflings and humans and goblinoids, and you see like a few like elvish individuals, which is kind of interesting. Like some dwarves that are like on fire. It's a very eclectic crowd in here. A couple of dragonborn.
Can Olive tell if these are alive people?
They do not seem ghostly in apparition. Like, they all appear solid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go speak to this bartender in his hat.
Are you going to speak to the hat separately?
Yes.
Sir, I'd like to have a word with your hat, please.
You go up to the bar, and this entity is like very tall and the neck is very long, and you can kind of crane it around. So it cranes its head over to you, and it says, "Hello, welcome to the Boneyard Bar. What can I get you?"
Sure. Do I recognize any of the bottles on the shelves?
Make a perception check.
If not, we're gonna do something that I hate when people ask me to do.
Surprise me.
Yeah. 16.
Yeah, with a 16, you see a few like okay, that's obviously like a whiskey that I've heard of, and that's a wine, and that's like a vodka or something. So like you recognize a few spirits, at least in a broad sense.
Okay. Can I have I like rums. Do you have any good rums that, won't kill me?
Oh, of course we do. Yes, just 1 minute.
And you see it snaps its fingers, and a little imp brings over this like kind of dark brown bottle, and it just pours, and it kind of like is slow at first, and once it kind of like glops, it kind of like rushes a little more, and he fills up the glass. He drops a few things into the glass, stirs it up.
There you go. We don't have ice. Sorry. It's a bit hot for that. Not on this layer, anyway.
Well, that's what this is for. And I prestidigitation and chill it.
You chill it, and about 3 seconds later, it's room temperature again.
I tried.
The environment's a little stronger than a cantrip, dearie. But that's okay. Don't worry about it. Now, that rum is from a plane of existence where sugarcane lives for thousands of years and actually sometimes turns alive. So that is a 300-year-old sugarcane rum.
Interesting.
100%.
I hope this one wasn't alive.
Oh, I don't get involved in those sorts of political questions. But
I know, I'm just stating this for my own cause. How much?
2 gold.
I'll give them 3.
I'm shocked that they.
Oh, thank
so
you.
cheap here in hell.
Thank you so much. What else can I do for you today?
I'm just here to, look around with me and my friends. This is our first time visiting.
Well, the Boneyard Bar is the place to be. We've got all the happening folk here. Feel free to mingle around, talk to people, eavesdrop if you want to. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life.
I'm just curious, who here's a bit of a chatty Kathy? Not Kathy at the entrance,
no.
but like...
Kathy's on his own, don't worry about that. No, Kathy doesn't say anything much, really. If you are interested in kind of a loose lip sink ship type of individual, then Tara over there's the one you should speak to. And he points out this kind of a tiefling woman with long green hair and kind of yellow skin and green eyes.
What does she drink?
Everything.
All right. I don't know. Give me something that she orders a fair amount.
Fair enough.
And
Make it room temperature.
and soon enough, another beverage is placed to you.
That'll be 1 gold and 5 silver.
I'll just give them 2.
She's a cheap drink. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. By all means, wave an imp down if you need anything else.
Of course. I appreciate it. You lot, enjoy yourself. Try to. I'm be back. And I'm gonna go speak with, what's her name, Hyra?
Mm-hmm. Tyra.
Tyra. Okay, I'm gonna go speak to Tyra Banks.
Yeah. So you head on over to this Tyra individual. What are the rest of you doing?
I want a
Sweeping.
donut.
Yeah,
Trying
where's
to
this?
sink into the floor.
Where's this cafe?
Make an investigation check. If you want to find the, you can make one too, Greg. If you want to find the buffet.
Can we ask the inn behind the bar before I get lost?
Well,
Greg knows all the right questions and follows their nose, and immediately vanishes from the rest of you as they sniff out the chocolate fountain at the buffet.
The chocolate fountain and the Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. You see that there are, you go through a doorway and kind of like immediately you are assailed by just all the aromas. You've entered the buffet, but from not the main entrance, from like a side entrance. So you're at the dessert side of the table instead of like the appetizer side of the table.
Say that like that's not where Greg was going anyway.
I know. It's fortuitous happenstance. That's what a natural 20 will get you. So you end up right where you want to be. And there's an individual, kind of a blue-skinned tiefling there. And she looks at you. Oh, welcome to the Boneyard Interplanar Buffet. But you're welcome to help yourself. It is a 5 gold admittance fee, and then it's all you can eat.
What?
It's
5
gold.
All right. That's fine.
Wonderful. Help yourself, find a table, spend as much time as you'd like. Spoot, what are you looking for?
Nothing. Spoot sits on the ground in tears.
Spoot, you try to wave down. You try to wave down one of the imps, but you're so uncomfortable here. You try to wave them down with your eyes instead of actually using your hands, and they just totally zip by. So you're just standing there while the crowd kind of moves around you.
Oh Lord. Okay. All right. I'm gonna refocus, recollect my thoughts. I don't have to go to the cafe. It's fine. I can find happiness here. What is everyone else doing? Oh, they're all gone. What is Defect doing?
That's a good question. Defect, what are you doing?
I have no idea.
You're just standing in the bar.
I am just standing in the bar.
All right, great. Greg, what are you up to?
Well, I'm gonna get dessert.
Oh, right, we did,
around
Greg.
talking.
Olive, what are you going to do? We just did,
Oh,
Greg.
just much, yeah.
guys, maybe we should stick together? No?
Well,
guys.
So Defect and Spoot are just kind of standing there, and the crowd is kind of shuffling in between. Grig has vanished from your side, and Nereus has gone off.
I'm
wanna
going
talk-
to stay with Spoot and Defect, and maybe try to flag down her own imp.
Great. Yeah, you use your hand, and an imp comes over and goes, "Yes, how may I be of assistance to you? What do you need today?
Guys, what do we need?
Come on, I haven't got all day. What do you want?
the cafe.
The cafe? It's over there.
Oh,
Warm beverages. Yes, cafe.
If you want the cafe, it's over there.
thank you.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye. And he zips off. You all, the three of you bonk out, or at least the two of you bonk out to the cafe through the door. And you go through the door, and it's a quiet little nook. It seems to be a perpetual nook. Like everywhere you walk in here, it's like another like nook with like a table with like 2 chairs and like a little reading table and like 2 coasters. And each nook that you walk to has like a small bookshelf of like random shit.
Are there people here?
Yeah, there's a few people here. There's like a really robust kind of minotaur with little tiny spectacles. He's reading a very tiny book in one hand. There's a kind of like crocodile.
Great mental image.
Thank you. There's a crocodilian like lizard folk in here, kind of like using their tongue to like lap up something in a saucer, and they have like a scroll kind of held on the table, like open in front of them, and they seem to be taking notes on whatever it is they're reading. And there's kind of like a pile of muck that seems to just kind of be the help here, that's just kind of risen up and kind of has a vaguely humanoid shape. It seems to have some form of appendages, arms at least, and a kind of a mound that is the head, and just kind of constantly like oozing and flowing back up into itself.
No, thank you.
And it's behind the counter, like with like an espresso machine and a coffee grinder and all that kind of bullshit.
No, thank you. Olive's going to talk to the Minotaur.
You go to approach the Minotaur, and he has just turned a page, and he just holds up a finger like, what?
Hello?
Up. And just
means wait.
is like reading intently. We're going to flash back to Nereus. So Nereus, you walk up to Tanya, and she like clocks, or Tyra looks up and clocks you coming. She's like, "Well, you're a very handsome individual. Fresh in off the boat, are you?"
You could say that.
I've never seen you before. How
No,
can I help you?
Well, you just look like one of the more friendly people in here, and I don't know anybody here.
Well, thank you. I try to be friendly.
Of course. I was told that you enjoy this beverage, and I hand her the drink.
Oh, I so do. Tears of the Prophets. How did you know?
Bartenders know their people.
It's true, and they make it so well. Well, you've given me such a wonderful welcome. How do you do? How can I return the favor?
Of course. This is my first time, well, in the Boneyard specifically, but also just Avernus in general. There seems to be at least a lot going on. I heard a lot of people talking about a tribunal.
Oh, yes.
Do you know anything about that?
Oh, there's one every so often. It's not entirely unheard of, but oh yes, the rumor's gone around that Chidaveteric's been found.
I heard something about that.
which normally one chain devil going AWOL wouldn't be the be-all end-all of society. But I think it's a step in a larger plan. Between you and me, of
Kind
course.
of. Well, I mean, I do love, possible big theories that don't seem plausible, but totally could be. I would love to hear yours.
Make a persuasion check. With advantage because you brought her a drink.
Yeah. $22.
Very good. She looks right at you and kind of leans close, and she goes, "Oh, I can tell you all kinds of stories, my dear." What was your name?
I'm Nereus.
Nereus. Well, Nereus, such a pretty name for such a pretty man. Well,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Well, I'm certainly no one to anybody, but for my money, I've heard that the Lord of the Third hasn't been seen in a while. Do you know the Lord of the third layer of hell?
Where I'm from, we don't have too much information on it. I've heard, little things about different layers, but nothing too in-depth.
Well, it's called Mineris, which I suppose doesn't matter that much to you. But apparently, since old Mammon hasn't been seen in quite a while, they need to get a new duke appointed, unless an heir shows up. Because if the heir doesn't show up, then Mineris can't have no leader. They're going to have to appoint someone, and I think that Chidavederic is somehow a bit of bait to get either someone elected to the position or appointed to the position, or to get one of Mammon's heirs, or I think he only has one, to be honest, to show up.
Chidavederic can't be an heir, though, right?
A chain devil heir to a duke? No. Rumor is that Chidavederic and the duke's progeny were friendly at some point. But who's to say, really?
So it's kind of being used as
Bait.
bait.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is an interesting theory. Some stuff like that happened in the town where I'm from. They
Really?
Yeah, they there was a captain that was in hiding, and they brought out his first mate, and we're gonna hang him at the gallows unless he showed up.
It's a clever ploy. Seems to work quite a bit.
Play with people's emotions. People overreact and act irrationally.
It's true, but emotions aren't the only thing you can play with each other, are they?
Oh, I've heard there's a great many delights down here.
Oh, I could learn you a few things. And she kind of runs her fingers along your arm. And we're going to flash back to Olive. The Minotaur finishes its page, picks up a bookmark, puts it in the book, closes the little tiny book, puts it on the table, puts his finger down, and says, "Yeah, how could I help you?"
Hi. I'm new here.
Uh-huh.
And you looked like a very intelligent person that I thought I would like to talk to, who also doesn't ooze.
I definitely don't ooze.
Good. Have you do you come here often?
Couple times a month, I guess.
What are the highlights?
They make they make a good dark roast.
Good to know.
You can really taste the souls and agony in the roasting process.
Excellent. I hear that adds a very specific mouthfeel.
It's like a bitter scream. It's wonderful, really.
I hate it here. Who said that?
We're here because some very recent acquaintances of ours are apparently in a tribunal, and we kind of got pulled in to this.
Yeah.
Hear anything about that here? Read anything?
Make a
about the
make a
tribunal?
persuasion check, Olive.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Wait, do you get advantage because it's a animal?
No.
Humanoid?
No.
Olive is not persuasive.
So you kind of like mutter through and are not very like eloquent or skillful in fishing for information.
No.
And he's like, well, I know that they've engaged a tribunal for some chain devil renegade.
I see. What does a chain devil do to piss off people?
I don't know.
Piss
Not.
off people here.
I don't know. I guess not following orders.
I see. Cool.
Now, if that's all, I'd like to get back to my book. It's really quite exquisite.
Oh, what's it about?
Various methods of torture on halflings and gnomes.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
I like
It really
this
is.
guy.
The little ones make all kinds of noises, apparently, and, well, you have to be really precise in your
Sure.
workings.
Sure.
Because,
Sure.
tiny bones. So,
Sure.
precision
Of
counts.
course.
mm-hmm.
Of course. You wouldn't want to be ham-fisted and, just smear them everywhere.
Yeah, done too quickly. Now, if you'll excuse me. And he picks up his book, kind of readjusts his little spectacles, licks his thumb, and opens the book back up, takes out the bookmark, begins reading again.
I am terrified to know what the book selection is in this cafe now.
Make an investigation check, please, Spoot. As you deign to look at the book titles at the nearest rack.
I would use my special ability, but it won't matter.
With a 3, they seem like a lot of disgusting titles that you wouldn't dare consider opening.
Nope, I don't like it here.
Olive turns around and looks at Spoot and goes, "Ah!" very quietly.
So as Olive is silently screaming to Spoot, we're going to flash back to Greg in the buffet. Greg, you have amassed a pile of all forms of desserts on this fairly small plate that they give you. But it's like towering and teetering, and you find yourself a little booth, and you sit down, and you can see like a table or two over, like behind like a pile of bones on one side of the table, and like a pile of like meats. There's like this kind of like large, actual slug-like person who seems to be like kind of grayish green in color, and just kind of like extending a pseudopod over a steak and like sucking it up and dissolving it one by one.
Do you taste that?
Yeah, it's good.
Good.
And you see another pseudopod extends, and like the T-bone like just drops on the plate next to it, like ta-ding.
The bones I don't care for, but everything else is really good.
That's fair. Have you tried this? I pointed, some random dessert.
The sweet stuff, it just goes right through me.
Ah, I see. You from here? We're just visiting.
Oh, I'm just visiting. I come by every so often when I get the hankering. They make some of the best, well, Let's just go with steaks in all the hells here.
I feel like I should be bothered by the way you just said that, but I'm not.
Don't worry. Code of conduct prevents me from causing trouble here. Prevents
I'm
all
not
of
supposed to
us.
cause trouble either.
Yes. I can tell you are involved in official business.
How?
If you're from here, you can sense these things. It's part of the magic inherent in the binding.
I guess that's true. Magic does have sort of a stink and a taste. There were these snaky guys who were licking the air, and they could tell that we were official too. I'm really
Yes.
just here for the donuts, because the party we were at was just getting kind of boring, and, you know, there wasn't really much to eat. And the goblin I was
A
talking
true
to had to go.
tragedy.
Yeah. But,
Wow.
you know, supposedly we're supposed to be helping. I don't know.
Pseudopod eats another steak.
How long
Yes.
does it take?
Within like moments, another bone is like deposited on a plate.
That's amazing. Is your whole body acid?
I don't know. I just know it's very tasty.
Everyone here is oddly delighted.
That's good. That's good.
Remember, this is like a pleasure palace, so
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Nope, don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Well, I mean, it was nice chatting with you. I'm gonna go take a seat and enjoy some of this. Hopefully it's delicious.
So you're involved with the tribunal, huh? Please feel free to take up a seat and join me. I don't mind discourse while I ingest.
Oh, all right. Well, sure. Why not? I mean, you know,
I'm Sliver of Axis.
so the Axis, I'm Greg.
Greg.
Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do with this official business thing. Do you? Like, what does what person do when you're involved in a tribunal? Most of the time, we're the subject of
I
the
don't
tribunal, so
know.
I'm good at that. I'm not
Uh-huh.
good at defending other people,
another steak.
which I'm not even sure we're supposed to do. Mostly, I want the wedding to happen.
Bone.
I have no idea for your context. But I can tell you one thing. I don't know what the tribunal's about, I just know it's there. Why don't you tell me what the tribunal's for?
Am I supposed to do that? Eating a donut.
I don't
Am
know.
I gonna get in trouble? I'm not supposed to cause trouble. I'm trying not to. It's a new thing.
You can't get in trouble for talking about a tribunal.
Oh, well, there's this guy in chains whose name I can't forget. I can't remember. It's supposed to be the officiant for this wedding that we got pulled into and were contracted to hang out until the wedding ceremony is complete. And really, we would like to not be hanging out for years. And so we came along to find out more about this tribunal and maybe be helpful. I'm not really sure. Or maybe we just all die.
Make
Find out.
make
Or our
make
adventure.
either a persuasion or investigation check, please. Your
Well,
choice.
Persuasion, it would be more fun.
Uh huh.
Do it.
Because you're not legitimately trying to charm this person. You're trying to like just talk and have a conversation. So it's either persuasion or investigation.
Yeah. I am not trying to be charismatic, no. I am just saying words to find out what's going on. Yeah.
I'll buy that. Okay, with a 19.
Tell what's going on.
So you describe the situation.
Oh, sounds like Chit Veteric's been found, huh?
Yeah, that guy. But, like, who is he? Why was he supposed to be doing? And why? I mean, he left, but, like, had a reason. But what?
Mhm.
You know, I'm new to this whole Hells thing.
Well, I heard a few things back in the day about Chit Veteric and a certain someone. But the point is that Chit Veteric's paperwork was filed correctly. However, someone lost it recently, and so it's been reopened.
Someone lost it. I mean, how do you lose I mean, I guess I know. Well, honestly, you know, how do you lose paperwork? I have a big bag and I can always find my things.
I don't work in the records department. Steak. bone.
So when you say someone, is that because like you're being, what's the word? Cagey? Or
No,
are you saying
someone I don't know, but definitely above my payroll. Someone decidedly higher up the ladder than lonely Slytherissus.
Well, I mean, Slytherissus,
Slytherexus.
Exorcist. Great, I'm spelling it now. Well, Slytherexus, as far as I'm concerned, you've been the nicest person we've talked to. I mean, everyone else is like, I don't know, a little weird.
There's all sorts here. Pseudopod to steak.
Yes. I like to imagine for every steak that Slytherexus oozes, I inhale a donut or a brownie or a...
Yeah, so you continue this conversation for quite a while.
I feel like Greg always gets the, like, very interesting individuals, and I just get all the horny people.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're playing a sexy sorcerer. It's not my fault.
The high charisma, yeah, but it's just really funny how this pans out.
Defect, what are you up to?
Charismatic and half naked all the time.
I'm still just hanging out.
Works.
I'm doing nothing. I'm waiting for something to happen.
Cool. One of the imps flies over, lands on your head, takes a shit on you, and then flies off.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh,
I can prestidigitation that though. That doesn't need to be room temperature.
It's not like a lot. It's like a pigeon, essentially. But it's decidedly sulfuric smelling and like a lurid green. And you don't know if that's good or bad.
I hate this place.
I was just
hate
about to ask Defect, how did he feel about all of this?
Is Defect with us? I think it's just me and you.
No, Defect is standing in the bar still. He's just standing there as the crowd is milling
just
around
like-
him.
Oh, I thought you followed us. Let's get back to Defect. Says Spootsup.
Back
Do you
to
want a cup of
well.
souls?
Yes.
I want to eat or drink nothing in this place.
I don't want to talk to that oozy thing. It's kind of gross.
I love Slytherexus.
I'm having a great time down here. I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Coffee bar is being manned by a mud pile.
Speaking of, we're going to go back to Nereus. So you are having a great time with Tyra. What? And she's told you like this stuff about Mammon and this Lord of the Third being missing or whatever. What do you do after she tells you all this stuff?
I got very distracted by this.
One of my finest creations, Slytherexus.
Oh, God, that's so funny. Okay, y'all can leave hell. Me and Greg are gonna stay.
Correct.
Great.
Found our new local bar that we're gonna hang out at all the time.
Yeah.
Shit, what's the teleportation circle for this?
I was
place?
about to say, you just need
Yeah. Yeah, we need to get a piece of metal attuned to this plane. It would appear.
Word of recall. Is there? You think there's a shrine here to Far Lane somewhere I can attune to?
No, listen, I can teleport myself here. Damn. Alright, and then she, like, rubbed her finger down me, right? My arm?
Yeah, like you can try and see if you can get any more information out of her, or like, or whatever else if you want. Like it's, or you can do whatever. She seems to be willing to continue the conversation or interactions.
As she, like, runs her finger down my arm, I'm just gonna, like, my skin is just gonna, like, playfully spark at her finger.
Woohoo! Look at you! I do enjoy a man who I have sparks with.
I've been told I have a shocking personality.
Ooh,
Now.
stimulating.
I can't. I love this place.
We're going to walk away for a little while and leave you two alone.
Yeah, just the puns. Wait, so now I'm very curious. If this Mammon is a lord, how can he just go missing?
Oh, it happens occasionally from time to time.
No.
Someone falls out of favor with the enticer. Somebody makes a mistake, or sometimes the enticer just has a reason that he refuses to share and demotes somebody. But
So,
as far
is
as we
the
know, Mammon's just vanished.
So, the Enticer, they're above the lords, I assume?
Oh, the enticer is the god of all the hells.
Oh, that sounds like a fun person to know.
Oh, yes. Many in the material planes call to him by a variety of names. The Lord of the Nine, the Supreme Master of Devils, the Raging Fiend, Master and Commander of all the hosts of hell. Some have various proper names, such as Satan or Asmodeus. But the Enticer is a
Descent.
decidedly authoritative individual, if you know what I mean. But that's okay.
Sounds like a good time as well.
I don't mind a little good authoritative time.
Oh, who doesn't? So, I'm just curious. I'm
Yes.
having a great time talking to you. Can you tell me about the other people in this bar? Are there any individuals worth of note?
Oh, there's a few wealthy business people from a variety of planes, and a few well-connected imps, I suppose. But mostly this is just sort of an every entity's sort of bar. Are you looking to talk to someone else in particular? Although I'll be very sad to see you go.
No, I'm just, new here. I like to make connections, meet new people.
This wouldn't have anything to do with what we were talking about previously, would it?
No. I'm
Make
just trying
a
to...
deception check.
$25.
Well, okay. But, I know, I can tell you're obviously here on business, so, what would you like to know?
I am from a port town, and merchants like to expand their businesses.
Mm-hmm. True.
So, it's always good and can help you get more favor with your captain if you can bring back valuable information.
Oh, well, if you want valuable information, then you want to talk to Carthitha over there.
Okay.
And she points to kind of an older looking woman with like deep purple skin, like scraggly white and gray streaked hair, wearing kind of like dingy red and gray garments with like, I don't know, kind of like shrunken heads off of one side, and she's sipping like a inky black cordial out of a very tall, thin glass.
Honestly, doesn't look as much fun to talk to. What does Kathitha do?
To be honest, I've never asked. But I know that she knows a lot in the information bracket, so maybe she's an information broker. She always seems to know the haps.
Alright. Well, I appreciate it. I am,
Of course.
I'm sure you'll see me around here again.
Certainly in my dreams, if nothing else.
I'll give her 2 gold and just be like, your next round's on me.
Oh, thank you.
Of course.
As you get it.
For the pleasant conversation.
Thank you for the pleasant conversation, Nereus. And you get up and she kind of like pinches your butt as you walk away.
Shocked.
And you hear her go, "Hoo!" and kind of laugh and chuckle to herself.
In hell, there is no HR.
Indeed.
No.
So, you head over to this new individual, and she's just there sipping this glass. Kind of eyeing the crowd, and you can tell she like catches you as you approach.
You wouldn't happen to be Carthitha, would you?
Oh, that I am, dearie. What a fine specimen like you want with Carthithi.
I heard you know about a lot of things going on around.
Oh, indeed. I've been around for quite some time, and my little friends tell me all sorts of information.
And she picks up the shrunken heads and kind of wiggles them up, bounces them, and then puts them back down her waist.
I'm new in town, but I kind of just got dragged here with some friends of mine.
Oh, I can smell the tribunal's influence on you. Don't worry. Speak freely, darling.
I was just curious if you
Big grin.
could explain... Oh, Jesus, this is bad. If you could explain a bit more of what's going on at the tribunal. No one's really told me much, and I'm very curious.
Make a persuasion check.
21.
Very good.
Well, dearie, the word on the street is that old Chitaveteric has been forcibly detained because his paperwork went missing. He filed all his leave of absence paperwork centuries ago. But something happened, somebody wants something, and so now he's back.
It wouldn't happen to have anything to do with one of the lords going missing.
Ooh, someone is well connected. Not trying to put me out of business, are you, handsome?
No, I just have a good ear for things.
Indeed, I can imagine a few things about those ears. But that's for another time. Now, tell me a little... sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Nereus.
Nereus. Lovely. Well, dear Nereus, it seems that old Mammon himself, Lord of the Third, has gone missing. And,
You cut out. You said old Mammon himself, what?
Lord of the Third has gone missing.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, his heir is supposed to be destined to take his place at such a time. Pardon me, I need a drink of my cordial. Nothing like condensed liver, but anyway. So, Mammon's heir is destined to replace him. And word on the street is that the heir used to chum around with Chitaveteric.
Mm-hmm. So he's stabbing a friend in the back? Just to get a leg up?
Well, no. You see, whoever wants the heir in power instead of elevating some other entity to the position of duke knows that Chitaveteric was on friendly terms with the heir, and the only way for Chitaveteric's current legal troubles to disappear is to either have the charges dropped, which are not likely, or to have a duke expunge the charges.
Interesting.
So therefore the heir would have to return, claim its dukedom, and then it could free Chitaveteric back to whatever little hidey-hole dimension he's found his way into.
all fairly ingenious if you ask me. Everybody gets what they want except the poor heir who will be in charge of the third layer of hell. Mineros isn't my cup of tea. I rather like Avernus. But such is the way of things, I suppose.
Well, it's been very informative. I appreciate it. This place is very different from where I come from.
Indeed, but if there's more like you, it can't be all bad, can it?
Oh, there's nobody like me.
Ooh, I like you a lot.
Well, I think my friends are lost, and they're not really good in these kinds of places. I'm gonna go find them. It was a pleasure.
Indeed it was, Nereus. I'll remember you.
I might be back around. I
You
might
look
have
for-
some fun information for you next time.
Ooh, do tell. See you then, darling.
I'm just gonna walk. Do I see Defect just standing there?
You do, and as you walk away, you also notice that as you were talking, her body sort of changed, and she went from being this elderly kind of woman to a more like middle-aged kind of like cougar kind of woman, like that kind of like attractive, older, mature woman who like radiates power and like has a appetite for younger individuals.
Everybody has an appetite for Nereus.
Apparently.
Everyone in hell, at least.
Hey, it's hot in here, and you know when the heat goes up, hormones go crazy. But yes, you do see Defect kind of like he's grabbed some kind of like napkin and is kind of like damping something off of his head.
Defect,
Yep.
lean over. I'm gonna prestidigitation the shit off his head.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you see where everybody else went?
Yes. Spoot and Olive went this way. Rick went that way.
Alright. Do you want to just stand here while I go collect everybody, or do you want to come with?
It is at this moment where Spoot and Olive walk back into the bar.
Come running
Really?
back, tears streaking down their face.
Wide-eyed.
A look of anguish that will never be erased from his eyes.
You guys look like you had a great time.
Don't go anywhere else. Let's go home.
We need Grig. Do you want to go get Grig?
I don't. But yes, I will.
It's a buffet. It can't be that bad. Just go ask for directions.
Greg actually might have been the smartest one among us. Which way was the buffet again? Would I have seen Greg leave?
No, none of you noticed Grig. Like, they just vanished and found the buffet. They followed their nose like Toucan Sam. And
Olive,
like,
For directions. It's not terrible to do that.
Olive, can you ask the lovely imp man to direct us to the buffet?
I will. Olive, eyes still wide as saucers, flag down an imp.
an imp flies over. Yeah? What do you want, huh? How can I help you today? What do you need, huh? Tell me.
Where can we
Dessert?
find some dessert?
The buffet. Sure, go through that door over there, and it's a 5 gold for the buffet.
It's a what?
It's 5 gold for the buffet. Don't you listen? Turtles. Whatever. Do you want a drink? No? Okay. And
No.
boom.
I'll meet you guys back here.
We'll go to the buffet.
Is everybody going to the buffet?
I'm going back to the bar.
You go back to the bar. Spoot et al. Go to the buffet. You walk through the door. This blue-skinned tiefling is there. It's like, oh, welcome. Welcome to the Boneyard Buffet, Interplanar Buffet. Welcome. How? It's 5 gold and then all you can eat. You can seat yourself.
I don't.
Hi, friend.
Yeah, we're not actually here to eat. Just collecting someone we think has gone in.
Oh,
Is it possible to? I don't want to
Olive's
cause a
gonna try
scene,
to
but
like look around and see if she sees Greg anywhere.
Well,
Small
I
goblinoid.
don't think I can let you in. It's a rules thing. You know, if you can't enter if you don't pay. But who are you looking for? I can see if they are available.
Small
red
goblinoid, reddish.
Oh, likes desserts?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen
Very
that.
much.
Just a moment. Greg, the blue tiefling stood up. Excuse me, you have some guests who are here to collect you, and she points over and you see your companions.
Oh, hi. This is Slitherexorcist.
You see like the top of the slug entity like cranes around and looks at you, and a pseudopod extends and waves. Hello. While another pseudopod extends and devours a steak, and another one extends and deposits a cleaned bone.
Olive is backing up.
No.
Nope.
So the exorcist was just, telling me, how these tribunal things work, and
Oh. Speaking of, we should ask if Nereus learned anything. We certainly did not.
The tiefling's like, I'm sorry, if you're going to shout across the room, you should go join your friends.
You're right. I'm so
There are
sorry.
others dining to Greg specifically, because you're you're halfway across the room.
sorry.
Wait.
I'll be with you in a minute.
Meet us at the bar? I'm so sorry.
And the blue tiefling shows the rest of you out while Greg continues their dessert binge.
I'm going to
think
try
it
one
would-
of the steaks as well.
The same one that Slitherexorcist is doing, or just
I'm gonna
another
go look
steak?
for it at least. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a table that's all kinds of meat. You don't necessarily know which ones they got, or he got, but it is there. You see, like there's beef, and there's like auroch, and there's all kinds of like things you don't have any idea what they are. And then you get to a section that's a little more concerning. You see like human and Aarakocra, whatever that is. And you find goblin steaks as well. At least
Greg was okay with it until that one.
the signs.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the signs claim that they are these exotic meats, whether they are or not. Only one way to find
Fair
out.
enough. Fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to eat myself and try to find out if it tastes like goblin. Cool. Well, I'll just I'm gonna go back to the desserts.
Yeah. You spend however long you want binging and eventually make your way back to your friends at the bar.
Meanwhile, Olive's going to look at Defect and say, "Don't eat or drink anything. It's awful."
And this is when Greg shows up with a pile of a to-go box just crammed full of like sugary, desserty things.
I'm not gonna lie, I really want donuts now, so I'm a little mad.
All I can think about this whole week is donuts. So this is me.
This is
putting
very
that in the
cathartic. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you've all regrouped at the bar. What do you want to do?
Nereus is doing shots.
Great. Make a Constitution saving throw.
I can do those.
Oh boy. Can you do them in hell?
12.
You take your second shot, and you fall back drunk on the floor.
Well, that actually happened sooner than I thought it would.
And you all watch Nereus down a shot, and just down he goes. He is
Oh dang.
he is unconscious on the ground.
That is unfortunate, because we really were hoping he had some information, because we got nothing.
I'll pick them up.
I
Strong.
would say Olive picks him up and casts a first level healing word on him.
They need to lesser restoration. Right?
Yeah, you've been drunk enough with him. You know that like what he needs is a lesser restoration. The healing word, it's not damage; it's a condition.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that prepared, and I'm afraid to sleep here.
Yep. Same.
Just get me some water and carry me back.
Yeah. I
Some
don't
water
have
and
it
bread.
There you
Or
go.
some of those sweets.
You
Take
could,
him to the buffet.
Yeah, here, have a donut.
yeah. I mean, there's a bathroom. You could go dunk his head in a sink.
I'll
In
hold
the
his hair
toilet?
and then
Whatever you want.
Swirlies.
Don't whirly me.
You're unconscious. You get no say in the matter.
Welcome to hell, nerd.
Is it safe to say you acquire a bucket of water or something and splash it on Nereus? Okay.
Oh yeah.
So Nereus, "Wah!" You are wet, but you are back to consciousness with a bit of a headache.
Oh. I feel like this heat makes it hit harder.
Yeah,
It's the
that's a pretty
elevation.
strong shot.
Whew.
Hey,
All right.
did you know that they serve like weird meat here?
I assume
Oh.
so.
They serve
guess-
coffee that was made from the grounded souls of anguished individuals, so I'm surprised by nothing.
Whoa, I
there-
bet that's really tasty.
There was a lady.
That's what the Minotaur said.
That's what Minotaur says.
There's a Minotaur?
Don't go to the
I just
cafe.
met
We need you
Slytherin
here.
Phyllis.
No. No.
Is there an imp or is there like an information person nearby?
Olive will
Our
flag go
go-to.
down.
Define information person.
A bartender.
No, who's the person that led us to where we have to go?
Oh,
That's
Kathy?
the imp.
Kathy, yes.
We need one of
Yeah,
the
Kathy is like the maitre d', like at the front of the place.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to Kathy and ask them if they have a teleportation circle here.
Wait.
Well,
are you still drunk?
we used to have a teleportation circle, but then this multiplanar entity, Iv's got it, showed up and broke it. So we don't anymore.
That checks
So
out.
there's no way I
That's
can get back here again.
Oh well, you could always come to hell via some other means, and certainly find us then.
Yeah, that was
Try-
just the easiest. I'll figure something out.
I'm sure.
All right, guys, we should walk and talk. Because if I stop moving, I feel like everything spins.
That's
Great.
fair.
Can we take a glass of water to go?
Here, do you want another donut?
You're given a glass of
You
water,
want a Napoleon?
and like it's slowly evaporating as it's in a little to-go cup. You don't know what the to-go cup is made of, but it feels porous.
You should drink it fast. It's either leaking or evaporating. Or both.
I chug the water.
It's like tepid at best. It's like room temperature. You have a sense it's slowly getting warmer. So you all exit the boneyard. Where would you like to go?
Thank you, Karen.
Wow,
I'm-
so I heard
That was
that.
Kathy.
Back to the tribunal.
somebody filed paperwork, because that's what you do, and it takes a while, but seems like people have some beef against Chain Guy.
You
And
think?
apparently, somebody high up the food chain lost their paperwork.
Does that
Also-
sound like?
People just kind of know that kind of stuff, which is weird because now it's tribunal.
It is weird. Did you learn anything, Nereus? Sounded anything remotely close to that?
Kind of. Yeah, just stop yelling at me.
What?
It's just your voice is really bright.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, he filed the paperwork. It went missing, possibly on purpose. The Lord of one of the layers of hell is missing, and they're trying to possibly use him as bait to draw out the next heir.
Do we know what the Lord looks like?
I don't know. Do you know what anybody looks like down here? I didn't.
We know what Usalix looks like.
I don't think we're going to find a Lord of the Hell who just disappeared.
Do we gather enough information
Do you
to
think that's who lost the paperwork?
No, someone who deals with it. It's as much as I'm going to be able to get today. Because I feel like we're running out of time.
Yeah. Let's maybe go back and see what's going on with the place where we're supposed to be.
Oh, we've been walking there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about this time you return to the building that houses the tribunal. And you can walk through the doors. And you see Gyro, and you see Punkestra, and you see Junior there talking with Chidavederic. Junior looks up and kind of pats Chidavederic on the shoulder and walks over to you and says, Nereus, you look horrible. Here, come here. And he touches the side of your face, and your hangover disappears.
Whoa.
Thank God.
It's a handy trick you pick up when you party as much as I have.
Yeah,
Useful.
I wasn't ready for that heat to make it hit me so hard.
It takes some getting used to, yeah, definitely. So, what did you all find out?
Not to
Greg,
drink the
Well,
coffee.
hey, did you know that they serve goblin steaks here?
Well, they'll serve anything here. Depends on the taste of people.
Interesting. Do you know who eats goblin steaks?
I
Or
don't
what?
have a list, no.
Fair. Also, did you know that there are creatures that are made of ooze and they can just disintegrate
Greg,
stuff really
to the
fast?
point about the tribunal, we'll talk
Right.
about that
No,
later.
the point is that I met this really nice ooze, for lack of a better word, who said that the paperwork was filed properly ages ago. However, it was definitely intentionally lost by somebody high up the food chain. And why random people know this kind of thing and yet somehow it's a tribunal, I don't understand.
Welcome to bureaucracy.
I guess so. I'm used to more like autocracy, where one person rules and what they know they'll kill you for.
That's similar, surprisingly. A little more red tape, but either way. Okay, so the paperwork that Chidavederic filed correctly has been lost by someone, and so they've deemed
Because-
him in revenue. Yeah?
Yep.
Apparently, Mammon has gone missing, the Lord of the Third, and his heir also is not able to be found. But apparently him and Chidavederic used to be very chummy, so they might be using him as bait to draw him out to claim the dukedom, because that could be, the dukes could pardon. And they can't leave a layer dukeless.
Right. Mm-hmm. That checks out. Right. Okay.
I think that's everything I had written down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You sound like you're on the phone. Are you on the phone in your ear?
What's a
Are you
phone?
messaging someone?
What? No. Great. Go ahead, make an insight check.
Yeah, I was about to do that too.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah, Spoot, you can make one too.
Nat
No,
fucking
I'm fine.
20.
Oh shit! On a nat 20, Grig, the minute Nereus mentioned Mammon and Air, you saw a complete shift from like the confident, like I'm here to have a good time, and like I know my role that Junior progressed, to immediately his demeanor became shit, fuck. So you get the sense that Junior knows more about Mammon and the air business than anyone you've had contact with. And you suspect that Junior's like somehow involved.
Well, I'm Greg, so you clearly know more.
Do it, Greg. This is what we need.
you either you're like having a stroke, but I'm pretty sure you clearly know more than
Medicine check.
you're letting on. The moment we mentioned those names, not the amoeba guy, Slither Exorcist, and somebody losing paperwork, but the Mammon and Air. The moment we mentioned those names, you started freaking out. Who are they, and what do you know? And don't run away from me. My friends are fast.
No, no, Mammon is the Lord of the Third. It has been for eons.
Yes, we know
what
that.
are you gonna say Mammon is your dad?
Oh my god, are you the heir? Did you lose his paperwork so the wedding wouldn't happen?
No, I abdicated centuries ago.
Abdicated because you're the third's heir?
Well, technically, yes. But I
like
didn't
want you back there.
Yeah, well, that's why I got out, because I scored really high, and, well, the closest way to translate it is like military prep academy. I was raised to eventually take over as a Duke of Hell when one died. Like, that was what my purpose was, and I got tired of it, so I went through a long, centuries-long system of abdication so I could get it out of it.
Have you checked on that paperwork lately?
Well, the paperwork, is because it's such high level, the only one who can void it is the Enticer. And the Enticer hasn't voided it yet. So that means that either the Enticer isn't the one who's pulling these strings, and someone else wants me in charge, or it means the Enticer is pulling the strings, but is doing it in a way so that the only way I can save my oldest friend is to fulfill a destiny I never wanted.
Can't you just
Well, is
find
he
your
allowed
dad?
to do that?
What? I'm sorry,
Is
Greg.
he
I didn't.
allowed to do that? Jinx. I think we're saying the same thing.
The Enticer can do whatever he wants. He's the Lord of the Hells. He's the boss. He's the high.
So then why have all the bureaucracy?
Because rules are important.
Because it's hell.
Rules are what makes the structure of hell function. It keeps every other fiend devil in its place so that none of them can approach the Enticer's level of power and position.
Really, how bad can the third
It's also why Dukes of Hell have a tendency to outlive their usefulness from time to time.
I see.
Why
so
can't you just go find
we
your
need to
dad?
find Mammon, who is your dad. Parent, uncle. You're the heir.
Yes, I'm the heir. But Chit of Edric doesn't have time. It's possible Mammon will show up again, in which case there could be a battle, or I could just abdicate again, or like, I don't know, but Chit of Edric's here now. I'm
Yes.
fine.
What? No, not fine.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. My dad's a big snake dude. It's fine.
Don't you live a very long time, possibly an eternity?
Oh yeah, I'm very old. Let's just say that.
So here's the thing:
So
how
just
bad
wait for
could
your
the
dad to
third
come
be?
back.
What if you went to the third, set up a teleportation circle, and then Nereus could visit?
That's not a bad idea. Well, have you walked around outside, right?
We went to the
Uh-huh.
boneyard.
Yes.
This is
As
the
Rick says with.
This is the nicest layer of hell.
I never want
The farther down you go, the more intense it gets.
How about you just find a way to get me down here, and we'll just visit the boneyard vacation.
Yeah, well, my dad is the Lord of Lust. It's one of his titles, so it's not all bad. but a lot of succubi and incubi down there. But not all the
There's
pleasures
no
are
way.
pleasures for everybody.
How do I get there?
Well, we can talk about that later. But right
Oh,
now,
this is Tanner.
right now, I've got to do what I've got to do because we're almost out of time here.
Hang on. I mean, wait. But couldn't we just... I don't know.
Do you know where Mammon is? Because I don't. I haven't talked to that guy in 800 years. And I was
That's
still
a
living
long
here
time.
at the time.
That's a long time.
Greg, you're only 9?
Yeah. But I'm a
Right.
grown-up.
Well, unfortunately, and you hear a big gong, and you see the 3 entities return to their seats. And you see Calestra leans forward. And so we return. The tribal is reconvened. Representative, arbiter, whatever title you want, step forward and make your statement onto why we shouldn't throw Chitaveteric into the pit or into the river Styx and turn him into an Amizu.
This is not going well. We're not hearing most of what you're
Most
saying.
of what you're saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
Discord might be being a little wonky. But the tribunal is called back to order. So Junior walks up next to Chitaveteric, who has been pulled back to that central pillar. He's wrapped in chains. He gets pulled back. And so he approaches and he goes, "Gentle entities of the tribunal triumvirate of hell, Avernus first lair. In the case of Chitaveteric versus all the charges and accused, I hereby state my identity in front of this tribunal as Mananoth, heir to Manon, newly raised Duke of the third layer of hell, Lord of Lust, etc., etc., claiming my rightful place and power, and my first act as Duke of the Third is to remove all charges from Chitaveteric in perpetuity for all eternity and release him from this tribunal now." The 3 entities look at each other like, "Well, what the fuck was this for? God damn it!" And you see that the minute Junior made this statement, his body kind of shifted and like an aura of power kind of just burst out of him, and it's like this, like a mirage, like waves of heat, kind of flittering off of his body, and a long tail appears, like a serpentine tail, out of his form. And so you see Posterny looks, "Fine, he's cleared his charges. As you wish, Lord Duke." And the 3 entities vanish in puffs of fire and smoke, and a circle of flame appears. And Junior turns to you all, "Well, I guess there's a wedding to get back to."
To the wedding.
All the knives for the circle.
You all dive through the circle. The wedding party returns. Everybody's like got a glass in their hand, and immediately Benjamin is running around. "Okay, everyone. Okay. The wedding party's back. We've got the officiant. We're good to go. Let's make it happen. Let's have a wedding. Everybody get to your seats. Get to your seats." This little penguin running around sticking people in chairs. Doesn't care what side they're on anymore.
Bridegroom doesn't matter. You get a chair.
Yeah. Sit in the chair. Sit in the chair. You see Junior's Nereus as Junior walks through. He's like, "I'm going to have to be quick. I won't be able to stay long after this." I have to get back now that I've assumed my throne. And so the wedding occurs, the vows are said, all of you hit your mark and become the bird, and you fly off.
Golden eyes!
Yes. Giant hummingbird with golden eyes. The party rages on. You all perform. Everybody make a 1 performance check as a group to see how much shit you are.
Oh, I'm terrible. 4.
Guidance.
You can guide yourself, sure.
Damn it. 13.
Oh, God.
All right.
Defect
13.
and I are leading the band.
And I need one from Nereus, too.
Plus another 5 because
Oh,
I'm
nice.
proficient.
Oh, okay.
The lead singer.
All
This
right.
next song is called "The Memory
So
Is There."
it is
The
a
bond is
so
gone.
so Nereus starts belting out these like beautiful like lyrics from somewhere, and Defect and Spoot, you're kind of like trying to keep up, and you're okay. All of your bagpipes are you're just rocking in your own world, and Greg, you're just banging on shit and the percussion like ding 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 ding.
Yep.
And the crowd is like mixed. There are some people who are really digging it, and others who are like, oh. But the bride and groom seem happy. The bride, Punkestra, is like rocking out. She's got like throws up the devil horns and does some headbanging along throughout your set. She's dancing with her new husband, and it is
Chaos would love it.
a beautiful cacophony and a perfect mix of order and chaos, which is exactly what the bride and groom wanted. The wedding goes off without a hitch, well, or with the hitches that did happen taken care of. And everybody's happy. You are each paid 1,000 gold. Benjamin sees you back to Fastid's office. Fastid bows to you all. Thank you very much for your services, Misfits. That was quite a concert. We'll reach out again if we'll need your services. Enjoy the rest of your existence until then.
Just make sure it's not musical or performing services.
Oh, everybody seemed very happy with the result. I don't know what you're going on about. You may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm sure you'll go far. Enjoy life, Misfits. And
I never want another cup of tea.
they snap their fingers, and you all kind of get this woo 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 feeling, and you all wake up having had a long rest and crazy dreams, but you know you just destroyed a Dracolish phylactery yesterday, and you've got a shit ton to do. And that is where we will end Warm Wishes. Good job, everybody.
Donut in my pocket.
Nope.
Darn.
None of you.
All the donuts in the bag of holding.
There are
Yeah.
no extraneous donuts. There is no extra gold. I will remind you all this was a non-canon adventure.
And the bag of holding has been replaced with donuts.
All of it? Oh, wait a minute. No.
There's no more money. It's just
No.
It's donuts. Various sizes of donuts.
How much money did you have in there? You have that much money worth of donuts in the bag.
Oh, that's a lot of donuts.
They're all drippy.
Yep.
Oh, drippy donuts.
Oh, we got
And the bag of holding is not a climate-controlled environment, nor is it like
tepid.
nor is it
Easy donuts.
like a stasis pod. So like those donuts gonna go bad real fast.
Oh.
But good job, everyone. It was so great to have everybody back for this last crazy romp through the hell, through the first layer of hell. Good job.
Please don't ever make us go back.
I thought it was great. Tanner had a great time. Greg had a good time.
I'm so glad Greg and Tanner were there. I was thinking in the back of my mind, I was like, I need to ask Defect how he's doing because I think something's wrong with him. It might stick.
Yeah.
And it
after waking up from the dream, Defect, you're fine. Like, it was weird. You had this weird dream about being disassociated from all your friends. But good job, everybody. Well done. I hope you had fun. And I hope everyone watching had fun. Thank you all so much for being with us and joining us this evening. We will be back, not next week or the week after, but we'll be back in 2 weeks on October 11th, I believe, with episode 120 of our main campaign, where we will be picking up where we left off so many months ago. I think it's episode 120. And
with the new ooze trauma.
I didn't know the ooze would be so triggering. That's my bad. But
Permitting to give up coffee anyway.
but thank you all so much for joining with us. We're going to say a quick round of goodbyes and plug anything, players that you'd care to plug. I'm going to figure out who we're going to raid. I've got it. Thank you so much for being active in chat. Best moderator around. Thank you so much for the resubscription. Thank you very much. We're going to say our goodbyes. We're going to start at the top of the ladder this time. We're going to start with Defect.
Guys, thanks for watching. Got to be back and looking forward to main campaign, so I'll see you then.
Wonderful. Moving on down, we got Greg.
Yo. I'm Greg. And Amber. And I have nothing to plug. I am not full of attention and care and knowledge about everything in the world. I don't know what I'm saying. Good night, bye.
Wonderful. And we got Olive.
Hey, that's me. We have a bunch of social media stuff. Hopefully you can spell our name by now. It's Nuuliforged. And you should put that into whatever app you're currently using and see if we're there or not. Because, we're in a lot of places.
We got the Instagrams, the Thread, the YouTube, the Facebook, and former Bird, now Roman numeral. I don't know.
Yeah, all the things. All the things, and I think I might cut back on my coffee consumption for a little bit. I've been meaning to anyway, really.
Fair enough. Next, we got Nereus.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks when I don't even know what we're going against anymore. Some death cult. World destruction.
the Ibn Shade.
That's oh yeah.
Ibn Shade, Oligar Greyclaw. Like, there's a lot of it coming up. It'll be a hell of a recap. Trust me.
Not intended, I hope.
Well, and then
start the stream at 6:30. Just have the first half hour's recap.
maybe. Then we got Spoot.
Hello, Spoot, played by Matt, and I was useless this session. Sorry, but
you made great flavor, dude. What are you talking about? You all did great. I love that I traumatized two of you. Like, that's fantastic for me. Like, I feel so accomplished that I made hell that uncomfortable.
Utterly useless. Well, admittedly, the bar might be pretty low for Spoot's traumatization, but nonetheless, perhaps he will steel himself against the terrors that threaten Nuuli in 3 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
You are nothing compared to the coffee made of souls.
I have seen hell, Ibn Shade. It is oozy.
There's a lot of ooze.
There were 2 ooze creatures.
It's enough.
That's too many.
Too many.
All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us. We're going to raid Dungeon Scrawlers tonight. Let them know that they've been newly rated. Hop in this raid. Hop in the chat. Let them know that they've been newly rated. And we will see you all in 3 weeks. We will be back second week of October. And it will be an amazing time. It's going to be a good time. It's a long time coming. Thank you all so much. Be safe. Be kind. Be nice. Hope life is going well for you all. And we will see you next time right here on Nuuli Forged. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Goodbye.